The smell of Kyle's room hits me like a physical blow: stale pizza, unwashed clothes, and something else. Something hidden. I shouldn't be in here, but the antique locket my grandmother left me has been missing for 3 days, and this is the last place I haven't checked. I tell myself I'm not snooping as I methodically search through the chaos. Just looking for what's mine. The dresser drawers yield nothing but wrinkled t-shirts and balled-up socks. Under the bed is a wasteland of empty energy drink cans. But when I move his laptop from the desk, a stack of papers slides to the floor, scattering across the hardwood like autumn leaves. That's when I see them. Credit card statements. Past due notices. Collection warnings with big red stamps across the front. Names I don't recognize: Jessica Reed, Mountain View Resort, Tiffany and Company, thousands of dollars, none of it making sense. My hands shake as I gather the papers, scanning amounts that make my stomach clench. 10,000 here. 20,000 there. A credit line maxed out at 45,000. But it's not just Kyle's mess I'm looking at. Some of these statements have Richard's name on them too. What the hell are you doing? Kyle's voice cuts through the room like a knife. I whirl around, papers clutched to my chest, to find him filling the doorway. His father's height, his mother's dark eyes, all of it twisted into something hostile. Looking for my grandmother's locket, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. Have you seen it? So you decided to go through my personal stuff. He stalks forward, snatching the statements from my hands. These are none of your business. They became my business when I married your father. I stand my ground, though every instinct screams to back away. What's going on with these bills, Kyle? Who's Jessica Reed? His laugh is ugly. Why don't you ask Dad about that? The way he says it, something in his tone makes my blood run cold. He knows something. Something about Richard. Something about these mysterious charges and this woman's name that keeps appearing. I think I will, I say quietly. Good luck with that. Kyle starts shoving the papers into his desk drawer. Now get out of my room. And if I find your precious locket, I'll be sure to let you know. The sarcasm in his voice tells me everything I need to know about the missing necklace. But that doesn't matter anymore. What matters is the sick feeling in my gut, the certainty that I've just stumbled onto something much bigger than Kyle's financial irresponsibility. As I walk downstairs, my phone buzzes. A text from Richard: working late tonight. Don't wait up. I stare at the message, remembering Jessica Reed's name on those credit card statements, and feel something inside me harden into steel. Richard's tie is slightly crooked when he comes home at 11. His cologne is different, sharper, younger. I watch him hang up his coat, counting the lies before they even leave his mouth. Sorry I'm late, sweetheart. The Peterson account needed. I found some interesting papers in Kyle's room today, I cut in, setting my wine glass down on the kitchen counter. Credit card statements. Lots of them. He freezes for just a moment, then continues loosening his tie. Kyle's finances aren't your concern, Isabella. He's going through a rough patch, that's all. $45,000 worth of rough patches. I keep my voice level, watching his face. And what about the charges under your name? You were snooping through our personal documents. His tone shifts, edge of anger replacing the practiced patience. That's completely inappropriate. I was looking for my grandmother's locket. The wine tastes bitter now. The one that disappeared last week. But we can talk about that another time. Right now, I want to know who Jessica Reed is. The color drains from his face so quickly I almost feel satisfied. Almost. A business associate, he says too quickly. She's handling some investments for the firm. At Mountain View Resort. Tiffany and Company. I pull out my phone, showing him the photos I took of the statements. Those are interesting business meetings. You're making assumptions. Don't. My hand shakes as I set the phone down. Don't you dare lie to me again. The front door slams, making us both jump. Kyle storms through the kitchen, reeking of beer and cigarettes. Having a nice chat about Dad's girlfriend. He yanks open the fridge, grabbing a beer. Real classy, Isabella. Trying to cause trouble already. Kyle, that's enough, Richard snaps, but there's fear in his eyes now. Why? She wanted to know so badly she went through my stuff. Let's tell her everything. Kyle's laugh is cruel. Tell her about the apartment you got Jessica. The weekend trips. Hell, tell her about Mom. I said that's enough. Richard's shout echoes off the walls. I look between them, father and son, united in their secrets, their betrayals. Something clicks into place. You knew, I say to Kyle. This whole time, you knew what he was doing, and you helped him hide it. Like you actually care, Kyle sneers. You're just here for his money anyway. I stand up slowly, gathering my phone and my dignity. I'm going to Olivia's for a few days. When I come back, I expect some real answers. About everything. Neither of them speaks as I walk out. But I hear Kyle's voice drift through the closing door. She's not as stupid as Mom was, Dad. Better watch out. The words follow me into the night, adding fuel to a fire I didn't even know was burning. Olivia's hands shake as she slides her phone across the cafe table. Mom, you need to see this. The image on the screen punches the air from my lungs. Richard and a woman, young, beautiful. Wearing a dress that probably cost more than my monthly salary, wrapped around each other outside an upscale restaurant. His hand on her waist, her lips against his neck. The timestamp shows yesterday afternoon, when he was supposedly in meetings. Nate saw them by accident, Olivia says quietly. He was meeting a client at La Maison when they walked in. He didn't want to tell me at first, but he's not a liar. The words taste like acid. Unlike my husband. More photos appear as I swipe. Richard and Jessica, because of course it's her, sharing wine, laughing, touching. Each image cuts deeper than the last. There's something else. Nate leans forward, his usual easy smile replaced by concern. I did some digging. Jessica Reed isn't just Richard's mistress. She's worked this scheme before. 3 other married men in the last 5 years. Each time, she bleeds them dry and disappears. My coffee grows cold as Nate explains what he's discovered. The pattern is always the same: secret apartments, lavish gifts, promises of a future together. By the time the men realize they've been played, their bank accounts are empty and their marriages are in ruins. Kyle must know about the money, I say, remembering his sneer, his protective anger. He's helping Richard hide it from me. Maybe. Olivia hesitates. But I found something in Dad's old files when I was helping you move. Something about Kyle's mom, Richard's first wife. She pulls out a folded document, yellowed with age. A police report. My hands tremble as I read the details of Sarah Thompson's accidental drowning 12 years ago. The investigation was inconclusive, but the officer's notes hint at suspicious circumstances, financial irregularities. And a young female witness who later recanted her statement. Oh God! The pieces click together with sickening clarity. Kyle doesn't hate me because I'm his stepmother. He hates me because he thinks I'll end up like Sarah. Mom. Olivia grabs my hand. You need to get out of there. Now. But I'm already shaking my head, a plan forming in my mind. No. Richard and Kyle think I'm just another naive woman they can manipulate. Another Sarah they can push aside when things get inconvenient. I meet my daughter's worried gaze. But they're about to learn how wrong they are. What are you going to do? I gather the photos and the police report, tucking them safely in my bag. I'm going to take everything from them. Just like they tried to take everything from me. The old Isabella might have run. But that woman died the moment she saw those credit card statements in Kyle's room. This new version, she's ready for war. I watch Richard's reflection in the bedroom mirror as I apply my lipstick. He's been hovering in the doorway for 5 minutes, rehearsing whatever lie he's crafted for tonight. The firm's annual dinner is next Friday, he finally says. I'd like you to come. I cap the lipstick, studying his face. Will Jessica Reed be there? His reflection flinches. Isabella, about the other night. I've already RSVP'd yes. I turn to face him, smile perfectly placed. I wouldn't miss it. The relief in his eyes makes my stomach turn. He thinks I've accepted his excuses, chosen peace over confrontation. Men like Richard always underestimate women who smile through pain. Later, at the bank, the manager's expression tells me everything before she speaks. I'm sorry, Mrs. Thompson, but you're not authorized to access these accounts. That's impossible. I'm his wife. She slides the paperwork across her desk. 3 days ago, Richard removed my name from our joint accounts. The same day I found those credit card statements. My phone buzzes, a text from Nate, got the info you needed. Call when safe. In my car, parked behind an abandoned strip mall, I listen as Nate outlines what he's discovered. Offshore accounts. Shell companies. A pattern of suspicious transfers dating back to Sarah's death. There's more, Nate says. Jessica Reed isn't working alone. She's got a partner who handles the financial side of their scams. Kyle, I whisper, the pieces clicking into place. That's why he's still living at home. He's not failing at life, he's helping them launder money. Isabella. Nate hesitates. The partner's name is Sarah Thompson. The world tilts sideways. Sarah's dead. She drowned. No. She disappeared. The body was never found. The witness who recanted. It was Jessica Reed. She was Sarah's roommate back then. I grip the steering wheel until my knuckles turn white. They're all in on it. Richard, Kyle, Sarah, Jessica, they're running the same con they've always run. What are you going to do? Through my windshield, I watch a hawk circle overhead, patient and precise. Richard thinks he's protecting his assets by cutting me off. But he forgot something crucial. What's that? I'm still the beneficiary on his life insurance policy. I start the car, decision made. Tell Olivia I'll be late for dinner. I need to make a stop first. Isabella. Don't worry, Nate. I'm not going to kill anyone. I pull onto the street, heading toward the seedier part of town. I'm just going to make them wish they were dead instead. The hawk swoops down, claiming its prey. I press harder on the accelerator, ready to do the same. The firm's annual dinner sparkles with fake smiles and expensive champagne. I adjust my red dress, the one Richard always said was too bold, and watch him work the room, Jessica Reed on his arm. She's playing the role of junior associate perfectly, all wide-eyed ambition and carefully measured laughs. Kyle appears at my elbow, whiskey glass already half empty. Enjoying the show. Almost as much as you enjoyed helping them steal my grandmother's locket. I sip my champagne. Tell me, does Sarah know you pawned it, or was that your own initiative? The glass freezes halfway to his lips. What did you say? Your mother sends her regards, by the way. Though I suppose she goes by Jessica's roommate these days. His face drains of color. Across the room, Richard catches our exchange and starts moving toward us, panic flickering behind his professional smile. Ladies and gentlemen. I raise my voice, tapping my glass with a spoon. The crowd turns, eager for a speech. Richard stops dead in his tracks. I'd like to propose a toast. Isabella, Richard warns, but it's too late. To new beginnings, I continue. To truth. To justice. I pull out my phone, connecting it to the venue's presentation screen. And to family photographs. The images flash across the screen: Richard and Jessica's intimate moments, financial documents, offshore account details. The crowd gasps. But it's the last photo that brings the room to absolute silence. Sarah Thompson, very much alive, leaving a bank in Singapore last week. You stupid bitch, Kyle lunges forward, but Nate appears from nowhere, blocking his path. Richard reaches for the microphone. My wife is unwell. Your wife is just fine, I cut in. Your accomplice, however, might need a lawyer. I turn to Jessica. The FBI is very interested in your pattern of insurance fraud. They're probably at your apartment right now. Jessica's perfectly composed mask cracks. She grabs her purse and bolts for the door, leaving Richard stammering. You don't understand, he tries. Sarah and I had a perfect scheme. I laugh. Find lonely, wealthy women, marry them, fake a tragedy, collect the insurance. How many times have you done this, Richard? How many lives have you destroyed? The room spins with shocked whispers and phone cameras. Kyle backs away, looking for an escape route. Richard's face contorts with rage. You've ruined everything, he snarls, mask finally dropping. I step closer, voice low enough for only him to hear. No, Richard. You did that yourself. I just made sure everyone could see who you really are. As security leads them away, I catch my reflection in a window, straight-backed, clear-eyed, victorious. The woman who entered this marriage naive and trusting is gone. In her place stands someone stronger, someone who finally understands that sometimes justice and revenge are the same thing. The police find Jessica's body in her apartment 3 days after the dinner. Suicide, they say. Pills and vodka. A note confessing to everything except what matters most. I stare at the detective across my kitchen table, his words blurring together. Mrs. Thompson, can you account for your whereabouts last Tuesday evening? She was with me, Olivia interrupts from the doorway. All night. We were planning my wedding. The detective's eyes flick between us. He doesn't believe it, but he writes it down anyway. After he leaves, Olivia grabs my hands. Mom, what's really going on? Before I can answer, my phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number, like mother, like daughter. History repeats itself. My hands shake as I delete it. Another message arrives immediately. Sarah says hello. Mom? Olivia's voice seems far away. I need to go. I grab my keys, ignoring her protests. The drive to Richard's office is a blur of rain and neon lights. His secretary tries to stop me, but I push past her. Richard looks up from his desk, unsurprised. I wondered when you'd come. Where is she? Who? Sarah. I slam my hands on his desk. She's behind this, isn't she? Jessica's death, the messages. Jessica killed herself out of guilt. His voice is smooth as glass. And Sarah? She's been dead for 12 years. You're becoming paranoid, Isabella. Perhaps you should seek help. Stop lying. But doubt creeps in. The messages on my phone are gone when I check again. The detective's questions echo in my mind. You exposed our relationship at the dinner, Richard continues. Jessica was fragile. Everyone knows you threatened her. The police are very interested in that. My throat tightens. You're trying to frame me. No one's trying to do anything. He stands, straightening his tie. But grief can make people unstable. Make them imagine conspiracies. Make them dangerous. The room spins slightly. Kyle is prepared to testify about your erratic behavior. Your obsession with Sarah. Your threats against Jessica. He steps closer. For your own good, Isabella, sign the divorce papers. Walk away. Before things get worse. I back toward the door, his words ringing in my ears. In the elevator, another text arrives, choose carefully. Olivia's wedding is coming up. Accidents happen. The garage is dark when I reach my car. Movement reflects in the window, a woman's shape, familiar from photographs. I spin around, but there's nothing there. Just shadows and doubt, and the sickening realization that in trying to expose Richard's lies, I might have walked right into his deadliest trap. My phone buzzes one last time. Sweet dreams, Isabella. Sarah's watching. The storage unit door rolls up with a metallic screech. Sarah Thompson steps out of the shadows, looking exactly like her photographs from 12 years ago. You're more resourceful than the others, she says, closing the distance between us. They all ran when Richard started gaslighting them. But you? You dug deeper. My hand tightens around the recorder in my pocket. Jessica wasn't suicide, was she? Smart girl. Sarah's smile doesn't reach her eyes. She got greedy. Wanted more than her share. Richard doesn't like greedy women. Is that why you helped him? All these years, watching him destroy other women's lives. I helped him because he owns me. Her voice cracks. Just like he'll own you, unless. A car door slams outside. Richard appears in the doorway, Kyle behind him. Family reunion. Richard's laugh echoes off metal walls. How convenient. It's over, I say, pulling out my phone. The police have everything, the offshore accounts, Jessica's real autopsy results, Sarah's testimony. What testimony? Richard gestures to Sarah, who pulls out a gun. My wife died 12 years ago. Everyone knows that. Mom. Olivia's voice rings out. My heart stops. Stay back. I shout, but she steps into view, Nate beside her. Nobody move, Sarah's hand trembles on the trigger. Richard, this wasn't the plan. Plans change. He pulls out his own gun. Isabella's right, it is over. Time to tie up loose ends. The storage unit erupts in chaos. Sarah swings her gun toward Richard. Kyle lunges for her. Nate pushes Olivia behind a stack of boxes. The gunshot is deafening. Richard staggers, red blooming across his chest. Sarah stands frozen, smoking gun in hand. Kyle crashes into her too late, sending them both sprawling. You promised, Sarah sobs as police sirens wail in the distance. You promised if I helped, you'd let me go. Richard's laugh turns to a wet cough. You never learn, do you? None of you ever learn. The police burst in, weapons drawn. As they read rights and apply handcuffs, I hold Olivia close, watching Richard's blood spread across concrete. Mom, Olivia whispers, how did you know? I think of the text I sent Nate earlier, telling him to bring the police to the storage unit. Of the recorder catching every word. Of Sarah's desperate call last night, wanting to confess. Because this time, I say, watching Richard's eyes go dim, he underestimated the wrong woman. Sarah meets my gaze as they lead her away. We share a moment of understanding, both of us trapped by the same man, but only one of us found the strength to break free. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying someone. Sometimes it's about refusing to let them destroy you. The letter falls from Kyle's hands, scattering across my kitchen floor like autumn leaves. His mother's handwriting, preserved in a safety deposit box for 12 years, tells the story Richard tried to bury. She knew, Kyle whispers. She knew what he was doing to those women. I pour him another coffee, watching his hands shake as he gathers the pages. 3 months since Richard's death, since Sarah's confession exposed decades of manipulation and fraud. Kyle hasn't met my eyes since that night. Your mother tried to protect you, I say. That's why she documented everything. And I helped him anyway. His voice cracks. All those women, including you. I thought I was being loyal. The morning sun catches the edge of my grandmother's locket, recently returned by the police. It sits beside a wedding invitation, Olivia and Nate's big day next week. We all believe what we need to believe, I tell him. Until we can't anymore. Kyle traces his mother's signature. The detective called yesterday. They're offering Sarah a deal if she testifies about Jessica's death. And you? Community service. Mandatory counseling. He finally looks up. They said you spoke on my behalf. I busy myself with the coffee pot, avoiding his questioning gaze. Everyone deserves a chance to choose differently. Why? The word hangs between us, heavy with unspoken apologies. The doorbell rings before I can answer. Olivia bursts in, wedding plans spilling from her arms. She stops short at the sight of Kyle. The florist needs final approval, she says carefully, looking between us. Actually, Kyle stands, gathering the letters. I should go. Stay, I surprise myself saying. If you want to. Olivia's expression softens. She pulls out a chair, spreading seating charts across the table. Kyle hesitates, then sits. As they debate flower arrangements, I touch my grandmother's locket, thinking of choices and consequences. Of Richard's final moments, when he realized his greatest mistake wasn't his crimes, but underestimating the bonds between his victims. Sarah's last letter sits unopened in my drawer. Her testimony starts next week, the same day as Olivia's wedding. 2 endings, 2 beginnings, perfectly balanced. Kyle laughs at something Olivia says, the sound startled and genuine. I watch them, these broken pieces of different families, slowly forming something new. Something honest. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. Sometimes it's about building something they can never take away. I join them at the table, adding my voice to their gentle argument about centerpieces. Letting the morning light wash away the last shadows of Richard's legacy.